Hey guys, I'm back, and this time I'm going to be ranking my first director. And this is going to be my ranking of the films of Quentin Tarantino. Before I start, I want to get out of the way that I love all of these movies. Tarantino has one of the most consistently great filmographies of any director I know of. My number 9 is The Hateful Eight. Now, there are three things Tarantino excels at more than anything else. Humor, specifically dark humor, snappy dialogue, and action. The Hateful Eight has plenty of great dialogue and plenty of humor, but it's pretty lacking in the action department, and the 188-minute runtime really just makes that even more clear. Now, most of Tarantino's movies are pretty long, but this is the one where you feel it the most. That being said, it's not bad by any means. The casting is pretty spot on. Samuel L. Jackson and Kurt Russell are great, Jennifer Jason Leigh is fantastic, and Walton Goggins steals the frickin' show.
Talk that hateful nigger talk. You can ride up top with OB.
No. You done got me talking politics. I didn't wanna. Like I said, y'all, I'm just happy to be alive.
He's the most interesting character by far, and the only one whose loyalty I kept questioning. The only casting choice I think could have been better was Tim Roth. His performance is fine, but there are quite a few times where I feel like he goes a little too over the top. The plot is intriguing and has plenty of twists and turns, and Ennio Morricone's musical score is just phenomenal. My score is 3.8 out of 5. Number 8 is Jackie Brown. As a standalone movie, Jackie Brown is great. As Tarantino's follow-up to Pulp Fiction, it feels a little derivative, a little too similar. That being said, it still works perfectly fine. This is probably Tarantino's most mature film. It handles its subject matter intelligently, and it's a wonderful throwback to old blaxploitation movies. Pam Grier, Samuel L. Jackson, Robert De Niro, Michael Keaton, and Robert Forster are all great.
All right, what you do after that?
I went looking for you. And I went back to the place in the mall where you were before, but you weren't there. What was I supposed to do if something happened? You didn't tell me how to do that, did you?
The character interactions are interesting, and the humor is solid. And like most of his movies, this one plays around with time a little bit, in this case, showing us the same chunk of time from 3 different perspectives. My score is 3.9 out of 5. Number 7 is hands down Tarantino's most underrated film, Death Proof. To paraphrase my father, this is the most violent feminist movie ever made. Kurt Russell gives us one of the best performances as Stuntman Mike. It's also a solid portrayal of a psychopath, because he's very charming and extroverted and outgoing. The rest of the cast is solid. The car crash is one of the best ever put to film. And the car chase is one of Tarantino's best action scenes. score is 4 out of 5. Number 6 is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. After Jackie Brown, this is probably Tarantino's second most mature film. It definitely stands apart from the rest of his movies in terms of subject matter. Most of his movies are about crime, or revenge, or double crosses, or what have you. This one is just about people living their lives in the late 60s. It is a love letter to the golden age of Hollywood. And also Charles Manson is there. Leonardo DiCaprio, Brad Pitt, and Margot Robbie are all fantastic.
And don't you move. Oh, man.
And the supporting cast are all good as well.
I'm gonna tell you a story.
This movie perfectly demonstrates how far Tarantino has come as a filmmaker since 1992. Cliff's visit to Spawn Ranch is an expertly crafted scene of suspense, with appropriate use of Dutch angles, and the fact that Cliff is a fictional character and therefore not guaranteed to walk out of there alive. Rick Dalton is an interesting look at the ups and downs of being an actor, specifically the midlife crisis that sometimes comes with realizing that you're past your prime. And Sharon Tate gives us a fascinating look at the life of a real woman who was taken too soon. Margot Robbie doesn't really have much to do as Brad and Leo, but the scene of her watching her own movies and watching other people loving her movies is one of the most enjoyable parts of the film. And speaking of Sharon Tate, Tarantino's alternate history ending is very thought-provoking. What if Sharon hadn't been killed and the Manson family was just a footnote in history? She would have gotten roles that in real life went to other actors, and it would have changed the film industry and the history of cinema as we know it. My one and only problem with this movie is the flashback within a flashback where we see Cliff and his wife on a boat. In the movie, many people think that Cliff killed his wife. This flashback within a flashback is written in such a way that it feels like the movie wants you to root for him to kill her. And I don't know, it just rubs me the wrong way. That being said, it does not ruin my enjoyment of this movie at all. My score is 4.25 out of 5. My number 5 is Kill Bill. Uma Thurman gives probably the best performance of her career so far, and she does a lot of the action of herself, which just makes it that much better. Because, as I've learned recently, the more you show the characters' faces in an action scene, the more the audience will connect and the more the audience will care. And that is perfectly demonstrated here. And even though they're technically one long movie, I do like that Volume 1 and 2 have different styles. Volume 1 is a samurai movie. Volume 2 is a spaghetti western, and they do those things very well. I personally prefer Volume 1, but that's just me. The action scenes in this movie are probably Tarantino's best, and there's also a nice variety to them. From the warm-up knife fight with Vernita Green to the chaotic Crazy 88 fight. To the very realistic duel with Oren Ishii. To the subversive and kind of funny fight with Elle Driver in Bud's trailer, where a lot of the fight is them trying and failing to draw the swords, because it's such a cramped space. And finally, I freaking love the ending. David Carradine is great. He and Uma have great chemistry, and their conversations are very, very intriguing to watch.
Superman didn't become Superman. Superman was born Superman. When Superman wakes up in the morning, he's Superman. His alter ego is Clark Kent. Clark Kent is how Superman views us. And what are the characteristics of Clark Kent? He's weak. He's unsure of himself. He's a coward. Clark Kent is Superman's critique on the whole human race.
Are you calling me a superhero?
I'm calling you a killer.
And I also love how quick and simple their fight is. I have a feeling Tarantino knew he could never one-up the Crazy 88 fight, so he just did something completely different, and I appreciate that. My score is 4.5 out of 5. This is where I definitely get controversial if I haven't already done that. My number 4 is Django Unchained. This is one of my favorite Westerns. Jamie Foxx, Christoph Waltz, Kerry Washington, and Samuel L. Jackson are all great, and Leonardo DiCaprio is just phenomenal. The action is great. Oh! Son of a bitch! The music is dope, and I love that we get a cameo from the original Django.
What's your name?
Django.
Can you spell it?
D-J-A-N-G-O. The D is silent.
I know.
Seriously, look it up. Now, there are some anachronisms here, things that didn't exist when this movie takes place, like sunglasses and the word motherfucker. But in this case, that's completely forgivable. And here's why. All of Tarantino's movies take place in the same shared universe. And that universe's history is slightly different from ours. Hitler didn't kill himself, Sharon Tate wasn't killed by the Manson family, and the Manson family was just a footnote in history. So, given all that, it makes sense that other things would be different too. You know, the butterfly effect. My score is 4.75 out of 5. Number 3 is Reservoir Dogs. This is one of my favorite heist movies, in part because you never see the heist, yet you know the most important parts of what happened. This is also one of the movies that kind of disproves Tarantino's reputation of just making violent movies. This movie is about 90 minutes of talking and like 3 violent bits, the worst of which happens off-screen.
It's so hard to keep this smile from my face.
Hold still. Hold still,
Clowns to the left, jokers to the right. Here I am, stuck in the middle with you. When you started out with...
The acting is all great, especially Steve Buscemi and Michael Madsen. Mr. Pink is one of my favorite Tarantino characters.
Why am I Mr. Pink?
Because you're a faggot, all right?
Why can't we pick our own colors?
No way, no way. Tried it once, it doesn't work. No way. I pick. You're Mr. Pink. Be thankful you're not Mr. Yellow.
Yeah, but Mr. Brown, that's a little too close to Mr. Shit.
Well, Mr. Pink sounds like Mr. Pussy. How about if I'm Mr. Purple? I mean, that sounds good to me. I'll be Mr. Purple.
The warehouse where the majority of the movie takes place is a great location. I love the fact that there are coffins and a hearse in there. No, seriously, there's a hearse. Mr. Blonde sits on it at one point.
Joe Egan and Jerry Rafferty were a duo known as Dealer's Wheel when they recorded this Dylan-esque pop bubble gum favorite from April of 1974. That reached up to number 5 as K-Billy Super Sounds of the 70s continued.
This movie also has one of the best uses of diegetic music in the movie. For those of you who don't know, diegetic refers to sound that the characters can hear. Non-diegetic is sound that only the audience can hear, like the music in most movies, or narration. The ear scene is one of the best scenes in any Tarantino movie, possibly the best. I haven't decided for sure. My score is 4.8 out of 5. Number 2 is Inglourious Basterds. And now we have one of my favorite war movies of all time. Brad Pitt gives one of his best performances to date.
Buongiorno.
Signori, è un piacere. Gli amici della vedetta ammirata da tutti noi, questa gemma propria della nostra cultura, saranno naturalmente accolti sotto la mia protezione per la durata del loro soggiorno.
Grazie.
And Christoph Waltz gives probably his best performance.
I understand your trepidation in repeating it. Heydrich apparently hates the moniker the good people of Prague have bestowed on him. Actually, why he would hate the name the Hangman's baffling to me. It would appear he's done everything in his power to earn it. I, on the other hand, love my unofficial title, precisely because I've earned it. The feature that makes me such an effective hunter of the Jews is, as opposed to most German soldiers, I can think like a Jew, where they can only think like a German. More precisely, a German soldier.
Hans Landa is legitimately one of the greatest movie villains of all time. But honestly, the unsung hero in terms of acting is Melanie Laurent. I hope I said that right. She's like Daphne Keane in Logan, keeping up with several acting heavyweights and holding her own. I also recently found out she is a director with 1 short film, 1 documentary, and 4 feature films under her belt. Eli Roth, Michael Fassbender, Diane Kruger, Daniel Bruhl, Till Schweiger, hope I said that right, and BJ Novak are all great. And I also love the fact that Eli Roth directed the film within a film, Nation's Pride. It's pretty cool stuff. The comedy is solid, and the dialogue is some of Tarantino's best. My score is 4.9 out of 5. Finally, my number 1 is Pulp Fiction. This is just flat out one of my favorite movies of all time. Every scene in this movie is important. Every scene in this movie serves a purpose. Most of the acting is great, and Tarantino himself is at least passable. Uma Thurman is definitely the unsung hero here. Yes, Samuel L. Jackson and John Travolta are both fantastic, but she's on par with them, and yet she doesn't get nearly as much praise as she deserves for this movie.
Don't you hate that?
Hey, what?
Uncomfortable silences. Why do we feel it's necessary to yak about bullshit in order to be comfortable?
I don't know. That's a good question.
That's when you know you found somebody really special. And you can just shut the fuck up for a minute, comfortably share silence.
Well, I don't think we're quite there yet, but don't feel bad. We just met each other.
The writing is excellent, and the character interactions are all intriguing and fun to watch. Vince offering Jules some bacon, and that leading to a discussion about whether or not a dog is a filthy animal, is one of the most natural and believable conversations in any film I've ever seen.
Want some bacon?
No, man, I don't eat pork.
Are you Jewish?
No, I ain't Jewish. I just don't dig on swine, that's all.
Why not?
Pigs are filthy animals. I don't eat filthy animals.
Yeah, but bacon tastes good. Pork chops taste good.
Hey, sewer rat may taste like pumpkin pie, but I'd never know because I wouldn't eat the filthy motherfuckers. Pigs sleep and root in shit. That's a filthy animal. I ain't eat nothing that ain't got sense enough to disregard its own feces.
How about a dog? Dog eats his own feces.
I don't eat dog either.
Yeah, but do you consider a dog to be a filthy animal?
Honestly, there's not a lot I can say about this movie that hasn't been said already. It's phenomenal. My score is 5 out of 5.
Martin and Lewis. Vanilla Coke.